Hey y'all, it's me, Laura Burns. Welcome back to my channel. If you are here for the first time, jazz hands! Welcome, 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 welcome. So I am actually filming this after I got back from hiking. I wanted to film kind of a proper introduction, and then I will come back at the end and give you final thoughts about the trail. But I just wanted to say welcome. If this is your first time here watching my videos about the trails, which this is only my second video, so whatever. I just wanted to say that the purpose of these videos is to show you what it looks like as you're walking the trail. I know from firsthand experience that it can be very intimidating to get out there on the trails, especially if you don't have, sorry, my cat is batting my leg, especially if you don't have somebody who is more experienced than you, like kind of showing you the ropes, taking you out so that you feel a little more secure and comfortable. So my hopes with these trail videos is that you will see the trail, hear me talk about it, and feel a little more confident, a little more empowered to get out there and hike, whether it's this particular trail or trails where you live, because I recognize that very few of you probably actually live where you can go to this exact trail. I do my best to show you where there are bathroom facilities, where there are places to rest, what the elevation is like, just all the things that would make me nervous about hitting the trails. I want to show you. If you ever have any questions, please let me know. Leave a comment below and I will answer them. So yeah, this is the, okay, now she's clawing the carpet. Sorry. So the trail for today, which I made a very brief introduction, but the trail for today is part of the Huntsville, Texas State Park trail system. It is the Prairie Branch Loop Trail. It is 1.5 miles. It is a loop, and it is, and I'll show you and talk about it when we get more into it, but just very quickly, it's cool. I've never done this hike before today, and I really enjoyed that half of it was in the forest, and then you loop around and the other half is on the lake, or if you go the opposite direction, it's by the lake and then in the forest. It was very cool to have two different ecosystems, two different, completely different sets of scenery to look at. The side in the forest does allow mountain bikers, so just be aware of that when you're hiking. The side by the lake, it has no cycling signs, so it is a, what did they call it? Highly erosive trail. So, and you can see along the edge of the lake what they mean by that. So there's no mountain biking on that side, which is really nice because you can kind of relax and let down your guard and not worry about, like, bikes coming whizzing by you super fast. This is a popular park for mountain biking, so it is great when you have a trail where there are no bikes allowed. According to their website, the Prairie Branch Loop Trail is 1.5 miles round trip. It is moderate difficulty, allegedly. I would say that this is easy. There is some elevation gain, and you'll see that in the video, but I, being the person that I am, would still call this an easy trail. And I'm not, crazy fit or anything. And my mom went with me. My mom is in agreement with me. She says that she would call it easy. So I'm just going to read you the description. This is just printed out from the website. Explore two completely different habitats as you walk this short loop. Half of the trail's length is along the shore of Lake Raven, and the other half is through the mixed pine and hardwood forest. Okay, so I am going to stop babbling at you about things and get to the actual footage of the trail, and I'm just gonna, butt in here and there with comments about the trail. So I hope you enjoy this, and yeah, see you on the other side. Hey y'all. Hi. This is my mom. This is Beverly. And we are here at Huntsville State Park to hike the Prairie Branch Loop Trail and film it for you. It's a really beautiful day. It's chilly, but that's nice. At least we're not going to sweat to death. And behind us is the lake. And on this side is the forest. So we just pulled up and found our way to the trailhead. We're gonna check it out. I'm gonna film it for you, and then I will talk about it when I come back later. And here we go. This is the trailhead. We're on the purple trail. There's a picture of a heron on there, in case you couldn't tell. So we are off. This part of the video is obviously sped up, but not as fast as the rest of the video. It did take us quite a while, like an hour and a half to hike this, because we stopped a lot. We walked really slowly because we were looking at lots of things. And so there's no way I can't put up an hour and a half long video. So it is sped up a lot. This is the part of the trail where you decide to go left or right. If you go straight like we did, then it is the forest side. And if you were to go to the left, you would start with the lake side. I think that my mom suggested to go through the forest part first. And I think that was the right decision because coming back, the lake was on our right and it was just really easy to see it. And I don't know that it would have been as easy to see if we'd gone the other direction. Maybe it would have, I don't know. You can go either direction. So we are here dealing with a little bit of elevation gain. Now I would say total there's probably like 30 feet of elevation, so it's really, maybe 40. It's really not that bad. It's right here in the beginning, so it kind of like gets you warmed up, it gets everything, all the blood is flowing, you get pumped up, and you it's kind of nice actually because you get going right away, and I really enjoy that. Like I felt like, all right, we're really hiking now. So this first part, you'll notice I'm turning to the sides a lot. We got very excited. There was a lot of cool stuff to see with the trees, all the different kinds of trees there with the tree roots. So you really have to watch your step on the forest part of the hike because these tree roots are out of control. They are gnarly, but they're very cool looking, and we really enjoyed checking out the tree roots. They looked kind of nuts. Oh, and here, so I slowed it down. Here, my mom is gonna show us a sweet gum fruit, a seed pod. And, well, kind of showed it to us, but they're these little round things. You've probably seen them and they're like spiky all over. And there were tons and tons and tons of sweet gum trees. So these things were everywhere and they were really neat to look at just because they have like crazy spiky things on them. Anyway, my mom knows a lot about a lot of things. She is a master gardener, and so she has facts, facts that she told me about different things, and that was fun. So continuing along, this is a pretty good representation of the forest. There were a lot of pine trees. I mean, there are a lot of pine trees in the area. So there were definitely a lot of pine trees here. There were a lot of like super old ones and then a lot of new growth pine trees, which was really fun. Because they're so cute, little babies. And then, which also means though that on the forest floor, there are a lot of pine cones. And here my mom had picked one up that was already half opened and is trying to get the pine nut out. And it was really funny because we were talking about all the pine cones that we saw that were like kind of half opened that like, I guess squirrels or whoever had been trying to get into and then had given up. And so here, like, she's like squirreling away over here trying to get into this pine cone. You can kind of see that little seed that she's trying to get out. Anyway, I thought that was fun, so I slowed this down so you could see it. She like was digging in there. Okay, so here we go. Sorry you can hear my cat in the background. She's mad because we were gone all day on doing this hike. So there's a lot of me like turning to the side or looking up because there were so many cool things to see, including lots of birds. There were so many birds in the forest. It was really nice. In fact, in a moment I'm gonna give you, so here I stopped, I heard a woodpecker and I recorded it. So this is on my phone. I did record it on the GoPro, but you couldn't see it. So here, at least on my phone, you can see it, but now you can't hear it. So trust me, it was making lots of woodpecker noises. So continuing on, We have here our very first bench. So there are 3 benches, kind of nearish to the beginning. It's not like super at the beginning, but near-ish to the beginning, at the middle, and then nearish to the end. I think they're really well spaced for this hike. So it's good to know that. This is a mud pit that I'm walking through. So yeah, it was great to know that there were bench opportunities. And then also, here we're looking at this log and these perfectly round holes that were bored into. We were making guesses as to what had made those holes. There are areas where there are wooden boardwalks that are lifted up off the ground, and you can also sit on the side of those, and it was very comfortable. We sat down once on the boardwalk, so that was nice. So here we ran into a cute couple that was out walking, and they asked us to take their photo. So I did, and then they asked if we wanted a photo, so I said, of course. So overall, the trail is nice and wide. I didn't see poison ivy or poison oak lining the trail like you often find. Just north of here, outside of the state park, is the Sam Houston National Forest, which I have hiked in a number of times, and the trails there are very narrow and often lined with some kind of poison plant. So I appreciate inside the state park that they keep it well maintained, that there's not a lot of things that are going to try and make you uncomfortable. There are lots and lots of downed trees that are cleared very quickly. I think they do a really good job. In fact, you'll see later on in the video, while we were there, we ran across a couple of guys that were doing some maintenance on a boardwalk. Here's some fungus that we saw on this tree. It's the kind that looks like oyster shells sticking out of the tree. So we really enjoyed looking at this log. It is insanely covered with this stuff, like all over, and this is a big tree. We did see this fungus in other places, but it was always on much smaller trees. So this was like the big mamma jamma, and we had a good time looking at it. I really appreciate my mom's perspective as we were hiking, because she was noticing a lot of things that I either kind of noticed and just like whatever walked by, or hadn't noticed at all. And because she was there, I really stopped and looked at those things, and that was really cool. I feel like I had more of an experience because I was looking at all the stuff around me. Those are baby pine trees that we were just looking at. It was pretty chilly today for this hike. It was like maybe upper 30s at least when we started. I don't know what it was when we ended, but it was pretty chilly. Here I was just showing you how pretty it is looking up at the trees and seeing them sway. All that wind. It sounds so beautiful in the leaves. I was just so calm from the moment we started. I just felt so chill and happy to be there. It does take us like an hour and 15 minutes to drive here, which is not a short amount of time, but it's so worth it. It's so beautiful and peaceful. And we were there during the week. Today is a Tuesday. And so there were not very many people there. And it felt so, remote, even though it's not really. So yeah, we're getting towards the middle of the trail now. The big bend in the middle. There are a couple of trails that meet up here, or along the way. So there's some guys that were backpacking. So these two boardwalks here lead out of park boundaries. Oh, here I'm going to show you, there we go, the bench. Here it is. So this is the second bench. This is the one in the middle, and it's at the bend. So these two boardwalks lead out of the park into the Sam Houston National Forest. But we are going to the left. Even though there's no signage here, which is not helpful, there should be that purple trail marker, but there's not. So here we go, and I thought it was really cool here. On the right, you had the changing ecosystem. It was like getting swampy. You were seeing a lot more saw palmetto, very sparse trees, and a different kind of trees. And then on the left, you still had the forest, and the elevation was going up. So we had dropped down by this point. But it was really cool walking. Here was a lady. She had a walking stick that had fringe. I thought that was pretty amazing. And she was telling us that they had seen a snake across the path, and that hopefully it was gone. And I was like, hopefully it's still there. I want to see it. Anyway, so now we're on the lake side. So you can't really see the lake that well. You can barely see it right there. Anyway, so this is one of the wooden boardwalks. I'm touching the moss and the lichen. So they have these boardwalks because it gets really muddy down there between the boardwalk and the lake. And so they very nicely put in these boardwalks to keep you out of that. And then also here, it's not all boardwalks. So then here we're back down on the dirt. I'm looking at these flowers, question mark, or leaves. I don't really know what these were. My mom didn't know either, but they were really pretty. We saw the beginnings of some new growth on a lot of different trees. So it's spring, the beginning of spring here for sure. And those were so pretty. I don't know what they were. Anyway, so yes, lakeside, things looked very different. Here's the lake. There she is. So this part was really nice because I really like being around water. Just like I find, the sound of the wind in the trees calming. I just find the sight of water very calming, so I enjoyed getting to walk next to it for this whole half of the trail. There were a couple areas that were a little muddy that people had kind of created little workarounds, so I guess they're chronically muddy. There were a lot of large trees like this that had fallen over into the water, and I think that's what they mean on the map when it said highly erosive trail environment, so that's why there's no mountain bikers allowed. I think over here it's just moist and delicate because there were a number of very large trees that had fallen over and were laying in the water. So here's more boardwalk. I think that's the one we sat on. So here's where we came across the guys that were working. They were replacing boards on the boardwalk. So they really maintain it well. There were no like soft steps, or when you step, oh, here's another bench. you know when you step on a wood deck or something, you kind of sink down and you're like, oh God. There were none of those. They really maintain it well. So here's the view from the bench. We took a little rest here. I'm gonna turn around and show you my mom on the bench. Say hi. She was like, all right. All right, here we go. So we're getting pretty near to the end of the trail. This is definitely like the last part of it, going through. I mean, it all pretty much looks like this. It's really beautiful. It's really interesting. There were lots of large trees that had fallen in various stages of decomposing, which was really interesting to look at. And then to see how animals have then made those trees like their food or their home. I don't know, I was super into it. I had a great time on this hike. It was so fun. And then we did see, you know, here we don't have a lot of like huge trees, especially in this area. But we did come across one big tree, and that's coming up in a minute. But here's another one that had fallen down. Here's a nice view of the lake. You can really see more of it right there. So here's a bigger tree that we saw. My mom pointed this out to me, and she gave it a hug, which was really cute. But for Texas, like, that's a pretty big tree. I know, like, you know, in California that's nothing, but oh, I love these super tall pine trees. They're so cool. I love trees. I love forests. Ugh. I'm so happy to go out and hike and be in nature, y'all. It's amazing. Okay. So we're finishing up here. This is definitely towards the end. What else? I'm trying to think. So overall, final thoughts about this trail. I think that even with the elevation gain, I would call this an easy trail for sure. It is relatively shaded, so even in the summer, I bet it's not too awful. Yeah, and I thought it was really nice. I'm glad it had the benches. There are bathrooms that are nearby, so that's really helpful. Yeah, it's a great state park, great trail.